nightmare, and I get so overwhelmed till it's hard to tell what I'm thinking.
Thanks for this dance, Lisa. All right, Christina, take us away.
Brilliant. Welcome, everybody. There's more people. I hear all the bings popping in.
Yeah, I got them.
For our second HubSpot hug of the year, ABM that does not overwhelm, and how to do it in HubSpot. We are going to start, we usually start by introducing ourselves, giving a random little fact, but I think we're going to start with interacting with you guys with a activity that Matter did with their team internally on our last quarterly call. And I'll give you just, 30 seconds or more, whatever comes to your mind, just type it in the chat.
Oh, I think we could just unmute and talk too.
I would love that, because we didn't have that opportunity last time. So if you feel like throwing it out there verbally, have at it. But what was your greatest accomplishment before age 18?
And we'd love to see faces too, if anybody would like to turn their video on. Thank you.
But it's an interesting thing to think about. And something will come to mind, and it doesn't have to be monumental. You don't have to have won a Nobel Peace Prize.
By age 18.
That's nice. A scholarship for soccer is huge. Good job, Megan.
Oh, are you saying things in the chat? I'm not seeing the chat.
Yeah.
No, I got the chat.
The first big job and that first tiny check when you realize how many taxes get taken out. So Joseph wants to celebrate his metabolism, 2 whole pizzas and not gain weight.
Sophie, what was your dream college?
So I'm from New England, so I went to Providence College.
Ooh. France on a class trip. I desperately wanted to go on a class trip to France. I didn't make it happen, so congrats, Mary. First paying gig as a musician at 18. Nice job.
You have a talented bunch.
I think I'd claim metabolism at 18 too. Oh, I'm sure you have copies of that newspaper then, Hannah. Softball Player of the Year. Mom and Dad probably bought a ton. My parents.
Oh, you bet they did.
I actually just did that last week. My 8-year-old was interviewed in the local newspaper. And after the interview, we get in the car and she says to me, "What's a newspaper?" So I actually had to pull up Google Images and show her how we used to get our news. And then we had to go to the store, and I tell her ahead of time, I'm like, "Oh, they have these machines and you put a quarter in and you take out a newspaper." Turns out they don't have those anymore. And our local newspaper now costs 75 cents, inflation since I was a kid. But yeah, we bought all 5 copies that were there.
Well, that was, okay, here we go. I was waiting for one more. Martin, nice to see you. All the way from Stockholm, Martin is joining us. First to buy tickets for Harry Potter when it premiered at the cinema and was interviewed by local radio. That's great. That's great.
Awesome. Did you record it? I guess it was in Harry Potter days, so they didn't have like the cassette tape that you could record the radio.
Now you're digging back into newspapers, cassette tape. Okay, brilliant. Well, thanks for sharing, everyone. So I'll get into it. Lital is applied and accepted top University of Mexico. Nice. Congrats, Margarita. Lital is the CEO here at Matter Marketing, and I am the SPV of strategy here. And what we have represented in these images are what we accomplished by age 18. So I'll let Lital explain hers first.
So I sprained my ankle actually in the LA earthquake of '94. And yes, you can now do the math and figure out how old I am. And while I sprained my ankle, I was 16 or 17 at the time. I was driving my red sports car in my head, my 1986 Honda CRX, which was a stick shift. And with my left ankle sprained, I had to learn to drive my stick shift with one foot. Yep.
Good accomplishment. So I don't know, maybe not everybody knows this actor, but this is the late John Candy, Canadian actor, well-known comedian. The reason I chose this picture is because when I was 16, I got my lifeguard certification, and part of my certification test was rescuing from one end of an Olympic-sized pool to the other, dragging this John Candy-sized guy. He was actually the one that did the training. He was big as a house. He was 250 pounds, 6'2", and I was 16 and 110 pounds wet. So I was pretty happy that I nearly drowned him just to keep him from thrashing, because he tried to make it very authentic. So that was my accomplishment, getting my lifeguard certification. One last thing, if any of you joined us for the first hug, just wanted to see that Latal is all good and we can finally see you guys again. You know, we did the platform that HubSpot just started, and it didn't allow us to have you join visually or use audio. So we have reverted back to Zoom, but it's just great to hear you guys and see you guys.
Thank you, Megan.
So let's get started.
Let's do it.
Now, account-based marketing is a universe. To many marketers, taking on a new universe while working with their way through regular everyday marketing with all of its interconnected galaxies, black holes, and other phenomena is way overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. ABM does not have to consume you, and today we're going to break it down and make it manageable. And this is the agenda of how we're going to work through that process.
So we're going to start by talking about what is ABM actually. So without Googling, without wikiing, without HubSpotting, what do you think account-based marketing is all about? Go ahead and either unmute yourself and shout it out or put it in the chat. What is ABM? I'll jump up at once.
Isolating the ideal clients that you're looking for, and then finding out the best ways to reach them where they are, creating a strategy around that, and coordinating with sales to ensure everything is level set, expectations are where they need to be, and the message is exactly how it's supposed to be.
That was a really great definition. Who was that?
Ben.
That's me, Ben Frank.
Ben.
Hey.
Anyone else?
Not after that explanation.
Right? He stole the show. Creating more lovable way to help accounts that are a fit for us by research. I love that. A lovable way.
Okay.
And someone new is here. Okay. So this is the HubSpot definition of ABM. So account-based marketing is a growth strategy in which marketing and sales work together. So Ben, I love that you had that in your definition, to create personalized, lovable experiences for a select set of high value companies. So now let's talk about what ABM is not. So we're going to focus on these kind of orange highlights. So it's a growth strategy. It's not just regular personalization, right? So we're all used to like adding the first name into the email. That's not ABM. That's regular personalization. It is marketing and sales working together. So it's called account-based marketing, which is a misnomer because it's not just marketing's responsibility. So I hope we have some salespeople here today too, because this is about bringing that, that juxtaposition, right? We're used to marketing and sales kind of being at each other. This is about us coming together and working together. Scuba is here with sales. Awesome, Megan. And personalized experiences, right? So it's not just a single initiative. It's not just a landing page you throw up personalized for a certain user. It's the entire experience, kind of end to end, how they experience your business. And it's for your high value companies. It's not for every company. You should not be creating ABM for everybody in your leads list. This is just for your tier A. So what are the companies that should consider ABM? So they typically embody at least one of these 4 characteristics. They sell some degree of high value products or services. So though I love and value M&Ms, if you are working for Mars and M&Ms, that's not a good characteristics for ABM because it's not a high value product. They typically sell into a market with a finite number of good fit buyers who often have a multi-person buyer committee. So even popular B2B products like QuickBooks Online don't qualify because they don't need a multi-purpose buying committee. And important that they require a higher touch of personalized content and engagement. So we're not going to automate all of this. A lot of ABM is that high touch sell. That's us. Awesome, Greg. So, and you just led me right where I was going to ask everybody is, does your organization fit at least one of these 4 sort of criteria? And if you're here and your company doesn't fit, I still encourage you to stick around. I think you're going to learn something new anyway, and you'll be able to apply a lot of this either in different areas of your role today or possibly in future roles. All of them, Andrea, nice. Lisa, yes. Megan, yes. Lou, yes. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to be talking about things that are very relevant today.
Okay, so in general, there are 3 major benefits to using an ABM methodology. There's increased deal size, there's better collaboration between sales and marketing, and there's improved sales velocity, i.e. faster to close. So we're going to go over case studies that explore how it's achieved. Now, Rexcut. Rexcut Abrasives is the oldest manufacturer of cotton fiber abrasive grinding and finishing products in the world. Nice little company out in Connecticut, or I think is where they are. They've developed a new grinding wheel and they wanted to bring it to the product to market, right? So a ABM campaign was developed focused on companies with fabrication departments, targeting manufacturing engineers and fabricators. These were the key personas. These were the decision makers and influencers. So that list turned out to be 41 companies. A target list was created within HubSpot's ABM tool, with sales and marketing each sending personalized email series. We also added in blog posts, set up a landing page, ran LinkedIn ads very targeted to these people. And on top of that, we did offline, which was a direct mail swag box. And it had samples of the new product with some other swag to these target personas that were in the target list. Results, that 20% came in the form of pre-orders within a month. What I will add here is, you know, maybe this will be some happy accident for your ABM as well, but as this was running, not only did they have the new wheel in the swag box, but added a couple of other grinding and finishing tools, wheels and tips. And we got feedback from many of the recipients that they were just overwhelmed by this other wheel that was included on top of the one that we were promoting. So now out of that, this ABM campaign, another ABM campaign will be launching.
Awesome.
Now, that was a product-based company. Now let's look at an SMB that's a SaaS. So this is Ask Cody, small SaaS company that sells meeting management for Microsoft platforms. This means sell to whales, right? I mean, large businesses and enterprises across multiple markets. The campaign planning started with a number of US law firms because they were identified as the top industry for this tool. The targeted efforts included sending optimized ads, creating targeted email sequences, setting up default properties to tag accounts and buying roles, plus creating a landing page only focused on this vertical. So yes, there's this layer of personalization, but on top of that, it's highly targeted and very specific to a particular industry. Now, enterprise level, talent clue. Talent Clue is SaaS for talent recruiting. And what they were looking to do with their ABM campaign is to break into the Spanish market. They came together with 50 potential clients. And I say clients, I mean companies, 50 potential client companies. And then 3 target persona were identified within each company: the CEO, the hiring manager, and the recruiter. So at key stages, they would be reached were also defined. So, we have awareness, consideration, decision. So success was found in producing highly personalized messaging that would resonate with each of these personas for each of these stages of the decision, buying decision-making process. What's ultimately important to note here, as opposed to the SMB, is that enterprise level clients, they tend to expect a lot more. So you need to make sure that they're engaged at every stage, including after a purchase, cue wheel, i.e.
Oh, I'm coming.
delighting. We should always attract, engage, and delight. You need to take care of your client after the sale.
Sorry, my bad. I think I also got so excited. I moved to the next slide. So case studies are awesome. And it's great to see, that all companies, different sizes, different industries can really benefit from ABM. And, like Christina said earlier, the top benefits or the results of ABM are better engagement, improved relationships, and company loyalty of the most coveted accounts. But a lot of our clients at Matter Marketing are hesitant about trying ABM, and they wonder, what does that actually mean in terms of ROI? It's obviously going to be an investment. Am I going to get a return on it? So there was research done by the Digital Marketing Institute, and they reported that developing these meaningful relationships that you create through ABM, that increases the number of orders placed by customers. It increases the average size of the orders, and it leads to an increase in total revenue, which is great to know, but again, still not a number. So Bain and Company did some further research, and they were trying to find the impact of customer loyalty. They found, let Margarita in, they found that just 5% increase in customer retention increases revenue by more than 25%. And so now we are going to talk about the different types of ABM. And our prop for this month's hug, are you ready? ABM hat. So now that we have my ABM hat on, let's head into the 3 types. And I'm just going to remove it. Christina, did you get your screenshot? And now I'm going to remove this because I feel silly with
Oh my gosh, no.
On.
I need that screen. There we go.
Thank you. Okay. I still just pretend I still have my ABM hat on. So 1-to-1 strategic ABM. This is when you deliver content and messaging specifically to each account as if they were your only account. So we have an example here with a company called Engagio, who was a big proponent of ABM. And they found out that one of their key stakeholders loved chocolate and wine just by stalking them on social media. And so they sent out this package, kind of like Christina told us earlier that RexKit did, with chocolate and wine. They added a handwritten note saying chocolate and wine for 5 minutes of your time, and they got a meeting. They also followed it up the same day the package was delivered with a customized email and a phone call. It went very well. So we talk about customized content. Customized content is content that incorporates the account's specific struggles, so their specific pain points, in an effective way to show that you've done your research and that your product answers their pain point. And then you want to provide a tailored online experience, so a unique experience with custom web pages. You can incorporate your target account's logo, their name, their job title. And you want to do targeted promotions and leads. Engage your audience with offering them a discount to an immediate problem that they're having. All of this is great, also has its drawbacks. So the main drawback is that it takes time, and time is money, So if you need your returns to add up quicker, it's a significant risk. And so this is where the one to few kind of ABM light approach comes in. This is the one most of our clients find as that kind of just right baby bear, kind of perfect medium approach. And so here is an example of what Optimizely did. Optimizely, the kind of landing page company. So they created this for Microsoft. So you can see not only do they include Microsoft's name, they also include the imagery of the Surface product of Microsoft. Then they did another one-to-one for Adidas. So same kind of landing page, they include the Adidas name instead of referring to their users as customers like they did for Microsoft, they're now referring to them as athletes. And of course, the imagery has changed from the Surface to what Adidas mission is about. An example of one to few is what they did for the travel industry. So they recognized a need within the travel industry, specifically for companies that had both a website and a mobile app, and created this page. So we're not calling out a company by name, but we're still talking to their travelers as opposed to customers or athletes. We still have imagery that's about travel. And then we get to the, maybe it's not seeing my whole slide. Why is this bigger? Oops. Uh-oh. Programmatic ABM. So programmatic ABM is something that's quite new. It's, you know, enabled by a lot of the latest technologies that enable us to target better, to have wider analytics and personalize across hundreds or even thousands of identified accounts. Honestly, that approach is really cool, but it typically doesn't match kind of SMBs that, as I kind of look through the attendance list, I think most of you are, because it requires a really big budget. And we wanted to start small and do a test. So, so let's talk a little bit more about the one-to-one and one-to-few. Christina, do you want to tell us a little bit about the project we did for?
Yeah, so we have a client call that is in the IT staffing space, but they're also a consultancy for IT. They are doing more of a one-to-one, targeting 4 high-value enterprise accounts. So these 4 accounts that they picked, they have existing relationships with certain departments within these accounts because of their staffing function. They have placed people for certain teams, and they're very happy. They want to now pivot and be expanded and more known for their consulting services rather than their staffing services. So we are designing these full service ABM campaigns targeting just this one company at a time, and we'll replicate it for the other 3 with a full microsite that speaks to the history and the partnership of the company with the enterprise. And on top of that is layered these full email series from both sales and marketing. And there are some other items going in around events and such, but we are creating these full microsites, much like Optimizely, where it speaks directly just to that audience, that company. We have a question.
Oh, I have a question about pricing ABM. Have you gone about pricing ABM engagements? Seems like an ABM, it's general engagements. Do you prefer in your regular contract? Okay, so Rob has a digital agency similar to ours. We've met Rob at previous hugs. Rob, why don't we take that offline, because a lot of our attendees here are HubSpot users. So I'll talk to you about that offline. Thank you. Okay, so we talked about ABM kind of at a high level, a conceptual level. Let's get into how to actually do it in HubSpot. Okay, so we're gonna play a little make-believe. We're gonna pretend that we are Gartner, and we have a marketing symposium coming up at the end of the summer. And we have been tasked to triple registration, but not just to this marketing symposium. Within the marketing symposium, there is a chief marketing officer circle. So it's an exclusive program with the overall agenda designed for CMOs to explore new strategies, share innovative ideas, and grow their community of peers. This is the landing page for CMOs to apply for this program. And let's see how to qualify. So they want enterprise CMOs. Let's talk about the private sector ones. So in companies that do over $250 million in revenue. Okay, so let's get back here. So first step of ABM, we need to build a team, and we're starting small. So we're gonna start with one marketer and one salesperson. Who wants to be our marketer and who wants to be our salesperson?
It's completely painless, I promise.
Well, I'm just kidding.
Bueller? Okay, well, Latal.
Carolina, you know I'm calling on you, right?
Volunteer.
I'll be your marketer.
Okay,
Fine. I'll do it again.
The
So we're
marketer.
good.
And Carolina's gonna be
Right.
the salesperson. Everything's falling into place.
There you go. Let's do it.
Marketer, what's your name? I don't know you yet.
Ben.
My name is
Oh, that's fine.
Ben, last name Frank.
Awesome. Ben with the good ABM definition from the top of the call. Nice to see your face. Okay, so we have our team, and now we're identifying accounts. So we need to identify a list of 5 to 10 high value customers. So remember, we're looking for private sector 250 million or more in revenue, and kind of companies that are interested in the latest trends, technologies, ideas for marketers. And the most important thing, Ben and Carolina, marketing and sales, need to agree. Go to it, guys.
Accounts. High
You
value.
said 250 mil and up. Do we have a limit?
Nope.
Google. Carolina, let's go for Google. What do you think?
Totally. I mean, there's a ton of ones that I would put in there. Google is definitely one of those very nice ones to go after, but I think that there are a little bit more low-hanging fruit, but let's definitely put it on the list.
I think our salesperson may actually have some connections at Google, doesn't she?
I do. I used to work at Google actually. So I actually work at HubSpot now. Nice to meet you guys. I work very closely with Latal and her team. So super excited to be on this call with you guys. But yeah, so when I think of, I guess, making target accounts, Ben, and obviously I think about this from the HubSpot perspective, but there's different tiers of target accounts. So I would obviously put Google in that like tier 1, ideal customer. But yeah, what other suggestions?
Tesla.
250 mil and up. I'll be honest with you guys. So I've never been one to market to marketers necessarily. That's not really my world. I'm trying to think of lower hanging fruit. Where's Pinterest at? How big are they?
Big enough.
Influencer.
Definitely. Wait, sorry guys. I'm like the worst for asking this. I joined the call late and I was like, moving a meeting. What is the service that we're offering? That would be like, what type of accounts?
Yeah, so we are Gartner.
Okay, we're Gartner.
And we have a marketing symposium coming up at the end of the summer. And within that marketing symposium, there is a CMO Circle.
Mm-hmm.
And the CMO Circle is looking for enterprise CMOs, private sector of 250 million or more, or public sector of over 1,000 employees, since we often don't know their revenue. And we are looking specifically not for CMOs that provide services to marketing.
Gotcha. Okay, perfect.
So like HubSpot, no.
Okay, awesome.
Oh,
So,
not for. Okay, I missed that part too.
cool.
Does that help?
Ton of software companies. I mean, I would go and pull a list of, either recently IPO'd or recently funded companies. Those companies tend to have a CMO in like the B2B space and the software space. But yes, I mean, Google, Tesla, companies like Twilio, companies that offer software. I would say maybe like a Monday.com I would put in there. Let's see what else.
I jotted down some suggestions. I didn't want to leave you guys hanging. So
Okay.
Udemy, Start, Calm, the app, Peloton, Zynga. So remember, we're starting small, so only up to 10 accounts per salesperson. So I think we've got kind of our 10 there. Our next step is to create the account plan. So the account plan needs to answer 2 key questions. Number 1 is who's going to be on the buying committee. So often the roles on your buying committee are decision maker, champion, budget holder, influencer, even blocker. So I kind of like to think of it as who at this company, who at Google, if Google is the one we're going for, could say no to having their CMO attend our CMO Circle. So that's question number 1. Question number 2, what kind of content will we need for each? So for our decision maker, we're going to need, maybe a list of business benefits, right? All the things your CMO is going to learn at this. And for your budget holder, we're going to need some ROI numbers. So we're going to need different content for each of the people in this buying committee. Don't worry, you guys, I'm not going to make you create this. You can create this for your own ABM. The next thing, after we create this plan and kind of identify all the buying committee and the content we need to create for them, we need to attract them, right? So how do we share this personalized content across our multiple channels? First thing we need to do is find out where they are. So Google CFO, does he hang out on TikTok? Maybe. Not? I don't know.
Probably not.
So like find out where it is, right? Post-COVID, are there like live events we should attend? Are there certain industry publications that he reads that maybe we can contribute an article to? So it requires a lot of research on these specific people. Remember, we are doing ABM. It is a high touch. We're not trying to automate all of this. And then building and managing relationships with the buyer over time. Salesperson, Carolina, that's all you. That's kind of your part in the ABM process. And then through it all, we are watching our metrics, right? So just like we do with regular marketing, we want to look at visits, but visits, again, specifically from these target accounts. So who from Google and how often is Google coming to our landing page for the CMO Circle? We're going to look at conversion rates, any leads or contacts created, the average cost of conversion. And as we're in this ABM and we're in our kind of marketing and sales mind, we don't forget our flywheel, and we also delight while we are attracting and engaging. Okay, I think you heard enough of me.
Exactly. So
I do want to.
Go ahead, Ben.
Oh, sorry, Christina. I just want to say real quick, you guys will probably touch on this anyway, but on the third section there, the content section, I did have one thing, and I know most people on this call probably know this, but when we do our ABM strategy and we're creating all this content, it's just really important to consider, like you guys said, the role of that individual and the length of the content, what type of content it is. All that stuff is really more important than anything else, and where that's going to go. Because let's say a CMO is not going to want to read a 15-page ebook or something like that. So I think that's probably the most important part of that section. And obviously, to help your sales team out, you need a wide variety of content.
Yeah, if you have a team of content writers in-house, like bring in a content strategist, and we did a hug about this a few months ago, but create an entire content strategy just for the account if you're doing the one-to-one. Same thing, actually, if you're doing the one-to-few, right? So if you're thinking of travel industry, you can still think of like travel industry CFOs or CFOs in general. They're not going to want to read a bunch of words. They want numbers, right? So always target your content specifically. Thank you, Ben. That was important.
Quick question.
Sure.
Let's see. That's a good question. Well, we're going to discuss further other channels. There are other opportunities. I'm going to just, before I move on to the how of this, setting this up in HubSpot, on RexCut, one of the additional things that we did that may not have been necessarily directly at the target personas is we reached out to influencers that were fabricators. And we sent them swag boxes as well. And that turned out really well because we got some word of mouth out of that, some videos and some testimonials that were approved and verified that now we can use across other pieces of content.
I saw one guy did like an unboxing video and actually
Full unboxing, like it was active. It was brilliant. And you might have to think outside the box. Somebody mentioned this to me that, and I think maybe it is on your radar, but Clubhouse. It's a great place to build thought leadership.
Mhm.
So wanted to mention on the back of what you said, Ben, because I think it's very valid that it's not just content, but it's what the content says and in what format it's presented. So now let's get into the nitty-gritty. This is the part where we set up in HubSpot. So what you do is you go and you start by going to your company's list and creating a filter. So since we're going for whales, 250 mil plus, we can use revenue and a custom property called ideal customer profile tier to filter out our target companies. So you select the ones you want to mark as target accounts. You edit and search for the target account, i.e. the property, and set it to true. Now, once marked as a target account, this is how the company view will look. There'll be the account overview section. Are we showing the?
Yeah.
Okay. And then view account details. So now to get an overview of all target accounts, go to the main navigation, contacts and target accounts to get to the ABM command center. If you look at the left column, you'll see a way to find, additional target accounts.
Oh, shoot. Sorry. Hold
Yeah,
on.
I was like, am I saying? Get to it.
Sorry.
No worries.
Okay.
Now.
See, it's when I touch my mouse. It doesn't let me touch my mouse and I was trying to scroll down.
Yeah. So now can you see now the command center? Ta-da.
No, I'm messing everything up.
Okay.
Sorry. One more time. Not that slide. I'm so fired. Okay. There we are. Not touching it.
Okay. So now the left column, that's your, we're at the ABM command center. You see it has all this information at a glance once you get stuff set up. But down the left column, you'll find ways to find additional accounts. So for example, if you clicked on recommendations, HubSpot's AI will serve potential good faith prospects to mark as targets. And the prospect selection will show companies that have visited your site. So these are just a couple of great ways with a click to scale your ABM efforts when you're ready. Additionally, beyond this, if you want to learn more, there's an academy lesson on the HubSpot Academy called Getting Started with Account-Based Marketing.
Sorry.
Like all marketing and sales, I think it's important that we measure progress, right? Marketing is fun and creative until they ask for the numbers. And with HubSpot, it's super easy. So now there's built-in HubSpot analyses. You can measure your impact and the ROI of your ABM efforts.
Awesome. So anybody here that we're doing a little giveaway of swag? Don't worry. We're not sending you my ABM hat.
We talked about it.
I had to use it twice. Or my flywheel. Okay. So let me introduce you all to a new member of our team, Michael Emery. Michael is, so actually we should have said this at the top. So we are officially the Los Angeles Hug. But since everything is virtual now, I know we have people here who are just interested in account-based marketing from all over the place. We heard Mexico before. We heard something Nordic. What was it?
Stockholm.
Sweden. Okay, so Michael is in Palm Springs, which in Sweden terms is very close to LA. So Michael, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, hi everybody. Thank you for letting me just jump in really quickly and introduce myself. As Lital and Christina mentioned, I'm part of the team and I am your teammate extraordinaire. I will be the one actually dispersing the swag post meeting, and just look forward to being a great resource for you with any questions or anything that comes up. Again, very excited to be part of the LA West Coast contingent of this endeavor. So pleasure to meet everybody. Look forward to chatting in the future. And when you see email come from memory, you'll know exactly from who it is, from who it comes from.
Michelle. So for Michelle, who loves swag, and everybody else, I just put the link in the chat of Zoom. You can go in and do this now. This is a landing page on our site. So unfortunately, not unfortunately, fortunately, we're part of a huge promotion that HubSpot did called 75 Hugs in 5 days, and that's the swag promotion. Unfortunately, the response was so overwhelming that their swag vendor couldn't deal with it all on time. So we don't have the link from HubSpot yet. But go ahead to this link, let us know you're interested in the swag, and as soon as we get that link, we'll send it to you. So it's a little bit of a multi-step process this time, but go ahead to this link, let us know you want your swag, and we will get it to you. And oops, again, I went. And while you're doing that also, are you guys really like not seeing the bottom of my screen? You only see until next time, or you see the things below?
Yeah, it's cutting off the animation.
Maybe if I move it over here. No, I don't know. I'm sorry about that. So the other thing we would like to hear from you. So this topic of ABM actually came from our last hug when we asked you what you all want to learn more about. So we're asking again, is there any topic that you're interested in learning about for our next hug? The reason I was asking about my slide is because at the bottom of my slide, there are some suggestions. So I will read them off to you. Feel free to use any of these suggestions, or if you have another topic you're super interested in. Some of the ones we suggested, how to use video with HubSpot, the new operations hub, which you may or may not have heard of. So like we have a marketing hub, a sales hub, a service hub. We now have an operations hub. We can dig into that a little bit. We could do chatbots. We could do growth-driven design and how that helps with doing websites and other web assets. We could talk about custom objects. We could talk about paid ads and the integration of doing those through HubSpot. We could talk about SEO. Did I see Tanya join us earlier? We could talk about how to audit your HubSpot portals. So feel free to let us know. We want to give you guys the kind of content that you're really interested in. So either put that in the chat or email us or LinkedIn us or whatever you would like to do. Sophie wants SEO. Kathy, me too. I think that was probably that you love swag too, right? HubSpot portal audits from Kathy. Awesome. SEO. All right.
Yeah, audits are.
Ooh, lots of SEOs. Email blasts. Okay. Can do email marketing. Creating dashboard reports. Okay. We actually did that one, didn't we, Christina? Dashboard reports?
Dashboard reports maybe last year.
Okay. Let me see if we can find the recording of that, David, and we'll send it over to you. Anyone else? I'm so not even on the slide. What happened here? Christine, I think next time you need to drive the slides.
Okay. So it looks like SEO is winning. I think anything in the general area of marketing ops seems to be.
And just so you all know, so now with HubSpot expanding these HubSpot user groups, so there are these local events that, like ours is the Los Angeles Hug, and we explore a different topic every time. There are also topic-based hugs. So if SEO is like you need to drill into SEO, there is an SEO hug that you can register for in addition to ours. And they will drive into that. I'm just looking through the members list because I think, no, she left already. So the leader of that SEO hug was actually here for a few minutes, but she left. So go ahead into the hug portal and register for that one. We will take the SEO suggestion as well. And so we just wanted to talk about what we learned today. So we talked at the top of the call that we were going to talk about what ABM is. Besides Ben, who remembers what ABM is? Really? Wasn't that long ago?
You're not gonna get it.
ABM, growth strategy, marketing and sales working together, personalized experiences for high value clients. Then we talked about how to determine whether it's a fit for your organization. So remember, we had 4 categories that are somewhere here. Sell high value B2B products to a finite number of customers, multi-purpose buying committee, and high touch multi-channel sale. Back to what we learned today. We talked about customer case studies, RexCut, Ask Cody, Talent Clue. We talked about the difference in the different types of ABM. We talked through HubSpot's ABM tools and how to do it on HubSpot. Again, if you need more on that, feel free to reach out to us, or we also recommended the, have you done a drill down in growth hacking? Sorry, got distracted by the chat. Thank you, Christina and Martin. Drilled into HubSpot ABM tools. If you need information on that, feel free to reach out to us or to do that Academy course. We talked about how to start with a small scale test, right? 1 salesperson, 1 marketer, up to 10 accounts. And when you're ready to scale, you can use the HubSpot recommendations and what's the one called of the people who have visited your site? I just lost it.
The prospects tool.
Prospects, yes. And that's how to scale up when you're ready.
Okay, well,
So go ahead, Christina.
as we said, 75 hugs in 5 days promo. So I hope you got that link and you've registered for swag. It will come, promise. But last thing is, HubSpot has a feedback survey and they would love for you to complete. I'll also include it in the chat. And thank you, Latal, or in your follow-up email. And one bit that Martin did mention was growth hacking was another suggestion.
Awesome. Yeah, we have a team that does growth hacking. We can bring them in for that. That'd be fun.
And I think that is everything. Is there any other? Let's go to the questions and answers section of this. We have a good 10 minutes. Is it best practice to remove contacts from the ABM and HubSpot if they aren't interacting?
Where do you see this?
In the chat?
Oh, yes. No, I would scrolled up because Megan had a question earlier. So let's get back to that one too. Best practice to remove contacts from ABM and HubSpot if they aren't interacting. I think it's always best practice, right? If they're not engaging, then you put them back as a lead, right? Up to you to determine the time frame of that. Like, what does that mean if they're not engaging? I would say in an ABM, they would be engaging actually faster than your regular marketing leads. So yeah, I mean, we don't want to bug anybody. ABM is still part of inbound marketing. We still want to provide value and be there when they're looking for us.
So yep, let's go back to Megan's question is, are there best practices for beginning ABM for sales reps? General ideas for, research, best channels to connect with the purchasing power, how to drive campaigns and impact results.
Do you have some best practices for beginning ABM, general ideas and questions like tips on research? Megan, are you still here?
Yep, I'm still here.
Okay, so what do you mean tips on research? Research for finding your target accounts?
Yeah, no, not necessarily finding our target accounts, but after we've decided who our target accounts are, you mentioned going in and finding the channels where it's best to connect with them, finding very specific information about each of the companies so that we can make personalized and customized content to match it. So are there just any general best practices for how the sales team can go about that?
I think one of the cool things about ABM is that it's so different, right? Every company that does it completely differently. So when we worked with RexCut, who does abrasive wheels and is targeting automotive manufacturers, that's going to be very different from the kind of retailers that you guys are targeting. I would say kind of look at it very similar to how you create your personas. So if you already have any of these whales as clients, start there. Like ask them, where do they do their research? What kind of blogs do they read? Who are their influencers? And then you kind of stalk them on social media. So once you find out who they are, like follow them, see what they're sharing. You'll see them retweeting things. And from that, you know who their influencers are. So it's very hands-on and it's very different from each account. Again, if you're going for the one-to-one, which I believe you are, is that right?
That was our initial strategy. However, we're also looking at programmatic as well.
Okay. So I would start with a smaller test, you know, to verify that it's a good fit for you. Start with your top, 5 to 10, and let's do some one-to-one. It'll be fun.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, I just have a follow-up question for my team that's on the call, the sales side. So I guess we had a call around ABM and we're adopting this, is that I think there's a lot of knowledge if you've been in marketing and know the tools and processes, and then versus in sales where, you're driving deals and you're trying to get things done and you don't know all the tricks and tips of how you can use the tools. So my question is identified my accounts in ABM. I know who I'm going after. I know my personas that I'm going after. What's next? That's the big kind of hole, at least for us, for our team to really get around this, is because what do I do? Do I develop an email campaign? Do I develop, how do I work with marketing? Where do I go from there? These are kind of the questions, because I feel like there's that kind of gap in between where any tips or suggestions that you may have to get them started to be self-sufficient and parallel to what marketing is doing would be super helpful.
So Tony, this is Tony, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's his voice. Okay. So Tony, I would push back on them working in parallel with marketing, right? We don't want them working side by side. We want them working together. And I think what you described is that let's go back to the slide. We have slides. Let's use them. This one? No, next one. This one, right? So you identified your accounts, you created your account plan. So you know the kind of content to create for each of your, you call them personas, but for each of your buying committee. Did we get this far? Did we decide?
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. So account planning has different meanings, right? You do an account planning for sales and how to close a deal, and then an account planning for marketing. Do you have like a sample or good suggestions on HubSpot content that they can look at? Like, how do I develop my account plan from perspective of channels and content and things to look into?
We have examples. We need to anonymize them to send them out. But we can certainly do that. And really, I think this part is very much like your marketing plan, right? It's just like your marketing plan for one specific account. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it would just be more, again, where they can look at, where can they find this information? How do if I don't know anything about the account, I don't have any traction, what's the best way to do it? I mean, we had a meeting around it. It's like, okay, research the company name, the personas, the blogs they may have written, the things on their 10K reports, maybe public general information that'll come up in your Google searches. But is there anything more beyond that?
Again, it's so custom and it's so different from every account. So we'll get on that and we'll anonymize, Christina, maybe one of the ones you've done, and send it to Tony.
That'd be great.
Yeah, sure. And then, of course, it's not going to have the answer for what are the channels. It's just going to have like how to go about it.
Yeah. No, I think just anything, because we're just really we want to adopt this the right way and really get it going. But again, just our team's just not familiar with it, right? And if I have to speak with them, they probably doubt its effectiveness, right? To put them on the spot. So I just want to see what are the best practices.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do that. We can also share those case studies with you. Maybe that'll help.
Doesn't work. Sales and marketing don't work together. ABM is a team effort.
Got it.
All right. Anybody else with questions? Look at us sticking to the time. All right. Well, thank you everybody so much for joining us. We will get an email out to you. Like we said, to the people who wanted their swag, we'll get you that as soon as we have that link. To everybody else, we'll get you an email out with the recording and the slides. And if you have any questions, if you need more information, if you want to chat about it more, this is what we're here for.
Thanks so much, everybody. A lot of great suggestions. We'll take all those on board for the next hug and figure it out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Save chat. Okay. Awesome.